Thank you, sir. Very good morning to one and all. It's gives me a great pleasure to be a part of Institution Innovation Council of Pragati Engineering College, as well as Innovation Ambassador of MOE's Innovation Cell. Today we'll be discussing about design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. So my presentation includes first detailed discussion about design thinking. Then we will be talking about critical thinking, then innovation design. First of all, what is design thinking? Normally nowadays we are familiarized with these words, design thinking, critical thinking, all these things. Then what is meant by design thinking? Design thinking is an iterative process which seeks solution for a problem. Normally, in all the cases, whenever a person who is identifying solution for a problem, these are all what he will do. He will find identify a problem and he will find a solution. Then what is the difference between that regular case and design thinking? Right? How design thinking is differed from other cases. Right? That understanding will give us the meaning of design thinking. Design thinking is an iterative process in which we seek to understand the user or understand the people who are having the problem, then challenge assumptions, redefine the problems or miniaturization of the problems in an attempt to identify alternative strategies and solutions that might not be instantly apparent with our initial level of understanding. That may vary, right? Initially, we might have thought something and keep on progressing, the thought might have been changed. And at the same time, design thinking provides a solution based approach to solve the problems. Right? And also, the solution will be some more long term solution after clearly understanding the problems. It is a way of thinking and working as well as collection of hands on methods. That's the that is called design thinking. Let us see again. Here, normally, who are the peoples? Engineers are the problem solvers, business people, researchers. They will solve the problem blindly without understanding clearly each and every steps. They will solve the problem. They will give some solution, right? So that is called blindly solve the problems what they thought initially, what they were faced, what are the problems faced. Based on that, they decide something and they will pick some methods to solve the problem from somewhere and apply here and solve the problem. Maybe analytical method or some other way. So whatever the problems they have in their hand, further they will pick the methods from books or from somewhere from through somebody else. They will place here and they will solve the problem and they will give the solution. That is not the right way of solving a problem. To give solution for this only this design thinking came into picture. That is, first we should realize the problem, right? Realize the problem. Who are all the end users? We should understand their requirement. Based on that, we have to work, right? So it is a iterative process. So the designers resist the temptation to jump immediately to a solution to the stated problem. It is very important. Instead, they first spend time to find the fundamental root cause of the problem or what kind of problem we are addressing that fundamental issue of the problem to be identified. They do not try to search for a solution until they have determined the real problem. Right? This is called design thinking. Now, what are the steps involved in design thinking process? There are 6 steps normally involved in design thinking process. One is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and implement. These are all the 6 steps. From this, empathize and define. These 2 steps are coming under understanding of the problem. That is very, very important. Simply understanding will not give solution. Will not give the real problem. So that understanding is divided into two. One is empathize and define. First, we need to understand the root of the problem. Then we should know how to define the problem. Then we have to move to next step, that is called exploration of problem. That is ideation of the problem and making prototype. Then last step is materialize. Materialize involves testing of the prototype and implementing in the real world. So these two coming under materialize. The same thing in this slide also, the same steps are given, but the process is given, the flow is given. Right? First empathize. From that we will be moving to define. So where we need to define the problem with different steps. Then we need to go to ideation. Right? From the ideation we need to go to prototype. When we making prototype only, we will be facing more problems, right? Because it is real time. So whatever the problem faces in the prototype stage, then we have to come back to ideate stage. In the ideate, that we need to make some changes here, then we need to move on. Then again from prototype to test. During testing itself, during testing only, we could identify whether it exactly solved the problem or not. If not, we need to identify where the mistakes happen. Again, we have to go back. Here, from prototype, if any problems happen, we are going back to idea. But during testing, we have to go to each and every step, go back to each and every step. We have to go back to ideate if necessity comes, or we have to go back to define stage if necessity comes. Again, redefine the problem. Again, if or else, we have to go back to empathize problem. That is if required. Normally, every steps will be there. That based on the problems, we need to go to respective steps. Now, the detailed explanation is required for each and every steps that we will discuss now. Now, going to empathize. What it is? It is deep understanding of the problems and realities of the people you are designing for, to whom you are designing the problem. You are addressing the problem, that people's reality. I am doing a, was I'm taking a problem related to village. Then what is village people's requirement in that case? Or I'm trying to give a solution for a problem which is related to urban people. In such case, what is their requirement? I should understand. So depends on what kind of people's, what kind of problem. We should understand it first. Then based on that, we have to work. So that is deep understanding of the problems and realities of people you are designing for. Empathize contains 3 different steps. One is observe, and another one is engage, and third one is immerse. In case of First step, let us say, first step, observe. So, how users interact with the problem environment, that we should understand first. Capture quotes, behaviors, and other notes that reflect their experience. Then notice what they think, feel, or need, or their requirement. Then engage. Interview scheduled, right? Learn how to ask the right questions. That is very, very important. That only will help us to understand the problem. Then immerse. Find ways to get into the user's shoes. Best way to understand the user's needs. These three steps are mandatory in case of empathize. What are the tools used in this case? Assume a beginner's mindset. Ask what, how, why. Only these questions will give us some clarity. Ask the five whys. Let's see this. Empathy map. Conduct interviews with empathy. Build empathy with analogies. Use photo and video, user-based studies. Use personal photo and video journals. Engage with extreme users. Story share and capture. Body storm. Create journey maps. These are all the different tools that should be used in this stage. Right? Let us see one by one in detail. So, in all the cases, what we have seen earlier, that is a previous slide.